Hey everyone, welcome back to Little Shop of Nerds. I'm Mike.
I'm Julia.
What's today's hint, Jules?
So I'm excited to finally be talking about this. So today's hint is I open at the close. And as you guys notice, this is going out on May 2nd. So today we are actually going to be talking about, we're doing the last of our Harry Potter comparisons. So we're doing comparison of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows.
Now this is our, like I said, this is going to be our last comparison until if we ever want to do maybe a little book thing about the.
Maybe we should do Howl's Moving Castle.
We could do that.
That is completely different. The movie is completely different from the book.
Yeah, maybe, or other projects. Like I said, we got so many projects we want to do, but can't do right now because scheduling and also no money in the works.
Yeah, we're both kind of poor.
Like our U.S. government.
Yeah. So, as you guys notice, this is going out on Saturday instead of Friday, and we will actually explain that at the end when we get to it.
Yep.
On why this is going out on May 2nd instead of May 1st. So, let's get started.
Now, this is how we're going to... how the both movie both starts is with Voldemort talking to his Death Eaters or his minions. Banana! Fuck off. Anyways, like I said, they're both talking about their plans, how to rid of the Muggle-born wizards, everything else, try to take over the wizard community, like like Hitler.
Yeah, and the Death Eaters and Voldemort are, I think allegory is the word that I'm looking for, metaphor for Hitler and the Nazis, in case you guys didn't know that.
Oh, that's what my grandmother always theorized.
Yeah, so,
yes, my grandmother read Harry Potter.
Yeah, so they had a teacher from Hogwarts.
Snape?
No, Charity Barbage, or whatever her name was. She was the Muggle Studies professor at Hogwarts, and they had kidnapped her. And because she was like, we need to, work with the Muggles and stuff like that. If we don't marry Muggles, we're going to die out, that type of thing. And, of course, Voldemort and the Death Eaters did not like that. And so they basically kidnapped her.
Mm-hmm.
And then he killed her and had Nagini eat her. And Draco Malfoy is now part of the Death Eaters.
Yeah, and pretty much, they also... This, they did not mention in the movie during their little group is where... They mentioned about Tonks marrying Lupin. And...
Oh, they didn't mention that in the movie.
You sure? I don't think they did.
Yeah, they did. Because Voldemort said something to Bellatrix, and Bellatrix said something like, "My lord, I do not consider that child to be part of my family," or something like that.
Either way.
Yeah, so Tonks and Lupin did get married. Because at the end of the sixth book, after Bill was attacked by Greyback, Fleur still wanted to marry him. And even though he might have some wolf-like qualities, he wasn't a full werewolf, but he would have had some wolf-like qualities. And, Tonks was like, see, she still wants to marry him. And Lupin's like, well, it's completely different because he's not full werewolf. I am. She's like, I don't care. And so they do end up getting married.
Yep.
It was probably just a small, quick ceremony.
Yeah.
And so then it cuts to Privet Drive.
Now, this is where it's different from the movie and the book. In the movie, it was just the Dursleys packing up and getting their car ready to go. Harry talks to Petunia saying, "Oh, you didn't lose the parents. I lost a sister too." And Dudley's saying, or Regga's pretty much buried the hatchet type deal, but here's where it's different from the book. In the book, they had wizards escorting the Dursleys.
Yeah, it starts off with Harry. He's packing, or he's going through his school trunk, trying to decide like what he can take with him, what to leave behind, and stuff like that. So like he's leaving like his school robes behind, some of the books that he doesn't need, and then he finds, which this was also in the movie, he finds the sliver of this at the end of the 5th book, after Sirius died. He found the mirror, the two-way mirror that Sirius had given him, but he never opened it. And when he dropped it into his trunk, he broke it. So he found a sliver of the glass, and he was able to see a blue eye in this sliver of glass. And remember, Dumbledore had died, but it looked just like Dumbledore's eye. And he was... We'll get to that a little bit later on who it actually was, but
like I said, it's a long. This was maybe the
No, Goblet of Fire would have been the second longest book.
No,
this might have been the third.
No,
longest.
Goblet of Fire was first.
No, Order of the Phoenix was the longest.
Well, either way,
it's Order of the Phoenix, Goblet of Fire, and then most likely Deathly Hallows is the third longest.
Well, either way, it's a long book. Like we were saying, like I said, there's a lot of the cover. Like I said, the Dursleys in the book. The Dursleys going to have wizards escorting them to somewhere else, to a safe house. Vernon doesn't like it. He mentions about Shacklebolt because he looks decent enough because he's in Muggle.
Yeah, Shacklebolt is protecting the Muggle Prime Minister,
and he's pretty much wearing a suit and tie, and
he knows how to look like a Muggle.
Yeah, and Harry thinks to himself he doesn't want to mention that he has an earring, and
yeah, so like Vernon is kind of like going back and forth between like not wanting to leave and wanting to leave, and he tells him like, you guys have to leave because they will come and they will torture you if they think that you might have information on me. And even though like he doesn't get along with his aunt and uncle and his cousin, he still wants to protect them.
Yeah.
Even after they treated him like shit for 17 years or nearly 17 years.
And pretty much Dudley said, "No, let's go. We're going."
Yeah, so Dudley does apologize to Harry, Harry goes, I know, he said to Vernon, well, I know that you think I'm a waste of space or whatever. And Dudley's like, I don't think you're a waste of space. And they just kind of like bury the hatchet there. He did not talk to Petunia like he did in the movie. That didn't happen.
No.
But then they do end up leaving, and then that night Harry he's starting to get escorted to the Burrow.
And that's when we get the Battle of the
Seven Potters.
Battle of the Seven Potters.
So Mundungus Fletcher had actually proposed this idea for 7 people to dress or to pretend or take Polyjuice Potion and pretend to be Harry.
And people there's going to be some people protecting the fake Harry, and pretty much both in book and movie Hagrid does protect the real Harry, and in both book and movie they took Sirius's bike, and Arthur Weasley did modify it to help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we had Fleur, Hermione, Mundungus, Fred and George, and Ron, and then Harry.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the 7 Harrys. In case you guys didn't know, 7 plays a very big part in these books because 7 is considered a magical number. So there's 7 books, 7 years of Hogwarts, 7 Harrys. Seven Weasley children, you know. So, or was it seven Weasley children? Seven.
See,
I think it's seven Weasley children.
see,
There's
Bill,
Charlie,
Percy,
Fred,
George,
Ron.
Ron.
Yeah, so seven Weasley children. So Seven played a big part in this whole entire series.
And
So we had Harry went with Hagrid, Fleur went with Bill, Mundungus went with Mad-Eye Moody. One of the Weasley twins, I think it was George, went with Lupin. Fred went with Tonks, I do believe. And I think Shacklebolt was also there. I think he had Hermione or Ron. There was definitely there was somebody else. I can't remember who it was, but they all basically had somebody to protect them.
Yes.
They all had to wear the same clothing as Harry. They all looked like Harry. Both in the book and movie, he refused to give up his hair. Hermione had to steal it. And then they went off. And as soon as they started doing their thing, the Death Eaters showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Because Snape had passed on the information that they were moving him that night. Because he found out somehow. And so they, Mad-Eye Moody does die.
Yeah.
Mundungus disapparates.
Mm-hmm.
George does lose an ear by Snape. Hedwig does die. Rest in peace, Hedwig. Which that is a symbolism of Harry's innocence disappearing, basically.
Yeah.
And then he did lose his broomstick that Sirius had gotten him, his firebolt.
Man, this guy lose everything.
Yeah, so that was pretty much like one of the last things that Sirius gave him to was the firebolt. So they do, after a pretty brief fight, they do end up making it to, they made it to, the Tonks' residence. So Tonks' mom and father, it makes it to their house. And then from there, they were to take a port key to the Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
I guess a couple of, we didn't find out that Mad-Eye had died until like the very end of the battle, after everyone had appeared at the Burrow.
Yeah.
And they all drank some fire whiskey in, remembrance of Mad-Eye. So then Ron got to, okay, so they were having a wedding.
Now, this is going to be a little different here, because in the book, Harry took Polyjuice Potion and pretending they're like a lost cousin of the Weasleys just to keep his identity. But in the book, in the movie, he just goes...
just himself.
And I'm like, okay, not laying low.
Yeah.
And we get to see more about, and when Harry is both book and movie, Harry walks around and talks to people, and he's understanding more about Dumbledore's life.
Mm-hmm. Because he does stop to talk to an old friend of Dumbledore's, an old schoolmate, and because he had written an obituary for Dumbledore in the Daily Prophet.
Yeah.
And then Aunt,
what's her name?
I forget her name.
But one of the great aunt.
She's one of the Weasley great aunts.
Pretty much.
And she comes over and she just starts bashing on Dumbledore. And she was like, well, Rita Skeeter has a new book coming out and she's going to expose all of his secrets. And the new book is called The Life and Lies of Albus Dumbledore.
And yeah, in the first part, yeah, you were kind of wondering, well, it's Rita Skeeter. It's not going to be true. And because you can tell from the both book and movie, she wrote false propaganda.
Because we saw what she did during the Triwizard Tournament with Harry and all of them. So
yeah, but
we know that she writes shit, basically.
But we'll tell you what really happens close to we get to it, because let's just say, is it really all false?
Yeah. So, during a dance or something, Shacklebolt's Lynx appears. His Patronus appears at the wedding, and says, "Hey, the ministry has fallen." So, but before that, Rufus Scrigmore, or whatever the fuck his name is, the Minister of Magic, did show up with Dumbledore's will. So he left the snitch that Harry first caught at his first Quidditch game, and the Sword of Gryffindor. But the Sword of Gryffindor wasn't Dumbledore's to give, so Harry couldn't get it. He left Tales of Beetle the Bard to Hermione, and then he left his Deluminator to Ron. Now, the Deluminator is what he used at the very beginning of the series when he was dropping off Harry at the Dursleys.
Yes.
And there is a reason why he gave Ron that Deluminator, and why he gave everybody what he did.
Yeah, and also now in the book, Ron's giving Hermione more comments because you can tell he really loves her more.
Yeah, he got this book called, I can't remember what the name of the book was, but it was a way to make him more tactful towards witches. Because Ron's kind of tactless when it comes to...
he's more dense.
Not now he's not, because he's got that book.
Yeah.
So...
But either way, like I said, they're doing... like I said, at the wedding, I think Madame Maxine was also there too, wasn't she?
Yes, because I think she was dancing with Hagrid.
And I'm like, okay, like, I still don't get it. It's like, okay, are you guys on again, off again? I can't tell with you two.
I mean, we never know, but...
I wish J.K. Rowling mentioned that, because I want to know.
Yeah, so what I forgot to mention at the beginning of the movie was when we meet Bill for the first time at the beginning of the 7th movie.
Yeah, which is kind of lame, by the way.
And then he talks about about the scar on his face came from Greyback, when we already know that he got that scar from Greyback in the 6th book, at the end of the 6th book.
Yeah, which is kind of lame. I'm like, and yet we meet him, the first time we meet him was in the 4th book, and I'm like, okay, why couldn't you just introduce him as a cameo? And
we also meet Luna Lovegood's father.
Mm-hmm.
And he has this thing. He has the Deathly Hallows. Yes, guys, this is a real tattoo. I got multiple of them. This is my Deathly Hallows tattoo. But he has this around his neck. And Victor Crumb is there because, he's friends with Fleur. He sees it. He wants to duel.
But
he wants to duel Mr. Lovegood right there. Because we find out that Grindelwald, that was Grindelwald's symbol.
Yeah, and like I said, we'll get more into what it means, but because, like I said, it's both different from book and movie. And
so like we said, the ministry has fallen. Harry, Ron, and Hermione disapparate. Like, they find each other and they disapparate. They're gone. Like, that.
And I think, in the movie, they go to a cafe.
Yeah, they do it in the book, too.
And they fight, two Death Eaters and...
Yeah, so, they had apparated to, an alleyway. And then they changed in the alleyway.
And it was Harry's birthday now, and...
Yeah, Harry, Harry's birthday, they got married on Harry's birthday.
Yeah, because since it wasn't his birthday, he was still under the detection of magic, and...
Well, I mean, at that point, he wasn't.
Yeah, now he wasn't, and...
So, they said Voldemort's name, which we find out later, which I'm just going to say it right now. There's a trace on Voldemort's name. So, anybody who says their name, they can track him. That's how they were able to track them to the cafe. At the time, they didn't know it.
No.
So they're in the cafe. They do knock out the waitress and the 2 Death Eaters. And Hermione removes their memories.
And
she modifies their memories.
Now, here's the thing. In the book, yes, both book and movie, Hermione did wipe her parents' memories, but in the books they went to Australia and
she did that. She also, well, they also went to Australia in the book or in the movie. The thing is, in the movie, they had her use Obliviate, but that is to completely remove memories. Basically, what she did was she just placed a charm on them to where they forgot, and they thought that they were these people. But she would have been able to lift the charm or lift the charm or whatever if she were to survive this war.
Yeah.
Which she does. We do find out that at the end, she does go and she does find her parents and reunites with them and everything. It's not mentioned specifically in the book, but it was mentioned by J.K. Rowling after.
Yeah. Like I said, after that they go to
Grimmauld Place.
Grimmauld Place. Now, both book and movie, they do have an alarm, if someone who wasn't, part of the Order of the Phoenix, if they were a Death Eater, yes. Mm-hmm. But once they there, the house elf creatures there, and like I said, he's there and everything else. But here's the thing that's going to be a little different. In the movie, I think they were only there, for...
Wait, no, I think Creature was still at Hogwarts. And then they needed someone to look for Mundungus because they found out that Mundungus was selling... We found out in the 6th book that he was selling Sirius's stuff.
Yes.
And they needed to talk to Mundungus because Mundungus was there the night that Mad-Eye died. And he summoned Creature, but Creature and Dobby were fighting. And they both agreed that they would go look for Mundungus.
Now, see, in the book, I think they were at Grimmauld Place for maybe a day or whatever. Mm-hmm. But in the book, it was like almost a couple days or maybe a week or so.
They were there for like a couple months.
Yeah, a couple months. And during that time, they had to be careful because Death Eaters were watching. Lupin came by saying he was going to have a kid. And he wanted to join Harry, Ron, and Hermione, but because since he had a kid, he wasn't going to make him.
Yeah, he was afraid that the kid was going to come out a werewolf like him, because werewolves don't normally mate, is what he said.
Yeah, and
so Harry went off on him. He's like, "Oh, so you're just going to abandon your kid and come on a journey with us? Like, is that what you think my dad would have wanted you to do?"
And Lupin was mad, but I think, was it later on, he realized he was right, and James would have done that. Mm-hmm. But we'll talk about it when we get to it.
Yeah, because I think what Lupin had said was, well, James would have wanted me to come to protect you. And Harry's like, you think that my dad would want you to abandon your child to come and protect me? And he's like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
So I think it was Ron looked at him and says, you shouldn't have said that. And he's like, well, hey, if he goes back to his kid, then it was worth it. Yeah. So they
go through the house, and Harry sees, which we don't see in the movie, he goes to see Sirius's room, and what was it? I think he reads the letters that Sirius got from his dad, and
from Lily. It was from Lily.
Yeah, and mentioning how Harry loved the toy broom, and they had
he was chasing the cat around on it,
and they had mentioned that someone was starting a book on history or something, and
yeah, it was. She was talking about Bathilda Bagshot lived nearby. They were like neighbors, and she comes over quite often to see the Potters. But he didn't get to read the whole entire letter because the second part of the letter was missing. And then he found this photo. It was ripped in half, and the part with Lily was gone, but the part with James and Harry on the toy broomstick was still there. So then they find out that they see the initials R.A.B. on the door, which is Sirius's brother's room, and they question Creature, and they do find out that Creature knew about the Horcrux that they had gone to try and save, or
Yeah.
that they had trying to go and get. And we do find out that Regulus Black was RAB, and he was trying to defeat Voldemort, because he learned that Voldemort was not
what he said he was.
Yeah. And after that, creature changes. And then they decide that they are going to go into, that's when they I think that's when they contact creature, or have creature go, yeah, because they had creature come in to ask him about the locket. They sent him out for after Mundungus to see if Mundungus had the Slytherin locket that they were looking for. Come to find out, Umbridge now has it.
Yes, and now they have to they have to take Polyjuice Potion, both in book and movie, to go get the locket back. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Was it Ron?
Ron was like some maintenance guy.
Now in the book, it talks about how he was dressed like a maintenance guy. In the movie, he just looked like he was wearing regular clothes, and and Hermione was the assistant to Umbridge.
Yeah, she was like gosh, what was her name? Mathilda Hofkirk, I do believe was her name. And then Harry was Runcorn. I can't remember his first name, but it seems like that the guy that Harry was pretending to be was a lot more, might have possibly been a Death Eater, or
He was a dick, pretty
or
much.
just really liked the power that he could throw around.
Yeah.
He did try to let Arthur know at one point, hey, you're being followed.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, is that a threat? And he goes, no, that's a promise. And he tried to give him the look like, hey, you know, you need to, I'm not who I actually am. I'm actually Harry Potter, but they couldn't really
say it.
He couldn't really say it. But they do manage to, they find out that the bitch, that bitch, took Mad-Eye Moody's eye.
And put it on her door.
And then he stole her copy of The Life and Lies of Albus Dumbledore.
Yeah, and the new Ministry of Magic.
Oh no, he didn't steal it. They took Bagshot's copy.
I know,
Yeah.
but no, wasn't there like something that Umbridge was kind of controlling the new minister?
Yeah, so they
which was not in the movie.
So they are considered, or Harry is considered undesirable number 1.
Mm-hmm.
So that they're putting out all these pamphlets. They have this thing called the Muggleborn Registration Committee. So if you're a Muggleborn witch or wizard, you have to go and you have to register. But then there's the whole thing where, oh, well, you're not pureblood or half-blood. You don't have a magical parent. So how do you have magic?
And this is, it's kind of, how can I put this? It's like you're arguing a Christian with Christian with atheism, if you look at it. Because, like, okay, you know how we understand genetics?
Mm-hmm.
Like, one could have the genetic can pass down to a certain person. Like, someone could have the same color as their father's eyes, their mother's eyes, or past generations, like saying they could have, they say, well, they don't look like us, but they realize, oh, they look more like their grandfather from years ago.
Yeah, like I've heard where like they're like this one family, both parents had like blonde hair, blue eyes, and like 3 of their kids came out with blonde hair, blue eyes, and they had this one child that came out with like red hair and green eyes, and come to find out like their great-great-grandparents had red hair and green eyes.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, but it's like they're trying to explain it. But if you look at it, it's really easy to explain. You could have, now say, both wizarding parents could be from both magical ascendants. Their kid could be a witch or wizard, but they could be a squib.
Okay, so let me explain it this way. So, a pureblood witch or wizard, their parents and then their grandparents have to be witches or wizards in order for them to become pureblood.
Pretty much.
Half-bloods is one parent is muggle-born, or a muggle, and the other parent is a witch or wizard. Yeah. I don't think it matters if they're pureblood or not. They just have to be a witch or wizard. And then you've got the muggle-born who's none of their parents, like neither of their parents have any magic, but there's a good possibility that somewhere down the line they might have had ancestors who were witches and wizards, and they just don't know it because it could have been those descendants had squibs. And then because once a squib is a squib, then they don't really have a whole lot of connections to the muggle or to the wizarding world, because what's the point in them being in the wizarding world if they can't really do anything?
In one way, it comes down to genetics.
Because Harry or Ron did mention that he had like a cousin or a great cousin or something.
That was an accountant?
That was an accountant because he was a squib.
Yeah, like I said, it's all about...
But they don't talk about him.
It's all about genetics. It's, like I said, it's pretty much about magical genetics if you look at it. And it's, like I said, it's not complicated. I don't know why they can't grasp that. They're pretty much ignorant. It's pretty much ignorance. And then again, it's also like the other groups I know. I'm not going to mention.
Okay.
You know that Rowling is...
Oh, yeah. We're not going to talk about that. So, they do manage to get the locket from Bitch, and they get out of there. But now they cannot go back to Grimmauld Place because they took a Death Eater back to Grimmauld Place with them. And what had happened with that is when Dumbledore was the Secret Keeper for Grimmauld Place, when he died, everybody that knew about Grimmauld Place became the Secret Keeper.
Yeah.
Well, now Ron, Harry, and Hermione had accidentally shown this Death Eater their hideout, so they can't go back. So now we just start getting camping. There's a lot of camping. A lot of this is just camping.
Throughout the whole book, and I think half of the first part of the movie, because the movie is broken down into parts. Pretty much, they're just camping through the whole thing. And like I said, they're traveling.
Ron gets splinched when they did disapparate from Grimmauld Place.
And they can't move until he gets... And I think Harry's wand is broken now.
No, it hasn't broken yet.
Well, either way. Also,
Ron starts to get irritated because now what they're doing is they're all switching. They're taking turns on wearing the
locket.
The locket, because Harry tried to go into town to buy some food or something and couldn't because there were Dementors around and he couldn't produce a Patronus. Come to find out, it was because of the locket. Now, I don't know why they couldn't send like Hermione or somebody out after the food after that. But then Ron gets pissy because now he doesn't have any food.
Like I said, we found out the Horcrux, the locket, is causing people's moods because it's all evil and shit, and it changes people.
There is a theory that I'm going to bring up when we get towards the end of...
Yeah.
And I'm going to explain to you why the fuck it's wrong, okay?
Like I said, let's get moving on. Like I said, I think after a while, Ron ditches them and leaves.
Yeah, they get into a fight because they heard Tonks, so Ted Tonks, which is Tonks' father, Dirk Cresswell, and Dean Thompson and Griphook, I think, or a couple of the goblins, I think there were 2 goblins, were traveling all together, and they were hearing, like, what was going on. Harry and Ron Harry and Hermione are talking. Ron gets a little pissy, and it's raining, and he leaves. Hermione tries to go after him, and, it was just...
It wasn't good, and... They keep traveling, and there's at one point in the book where Hermione took the one of the portraits from Dumbledore's office. What was it, Phineas?
No, it was from Grimmauld Place. They had taken Phineas Niglius as Black's portrait from Grimmauld Place.
You know the dude from Hogwarts Legacy?
You know, the headmaster.
The dick.
Yeah. So,
spineless dick.
They were able to question him a little bit and find out what was going on and stuff like that.
And they found out Snape is the headmaster, and Ginny and Neville's leading a revolt against it, and they're always getting into trouble, and they're like surprised this is happening.
Yeah, Defense Against the Dark Arts is now Dark Arts.
Yep.
They are teaching students how to use the unforgivable curses on other students for torture, basically like the Cruciatus curse.
Yep.
And Neville got his ass handed to him because he refused to perform the Cruciatus curse on a first year.
Yeah, and
an 11-year-old child. Now, come on.
Yeah, that's a little too much. Like I said, then I think they go to Godric Hollow.
Yeah, Christmas Eve they go to Godric's Hollow.
And now this is where we're going to get a little different. Now in the book, Harry and Hermione took Polyjuice Potion to disguise themselves going through the Hollow. In the movie, they're themselves. They're like,
Yeah. So they do go visit Harry's home that was destroyed the night that Voldemort tried to kill him. And then they run into Bathilda Bagshot.
And it turns out it was just...
She was actually dead, and Nagini was...
Controlling her body.
And they had found the book, The Life and Lives of Albus Dumbledore, that Rita Skeeter had written. Come to find out, Grindelwald was actually her nephew. Bathilda Bagshot's nephew.
Oh.
And so they do narrowly get away from Voldemort, and in the process, Harry's wand breaks.
Yeah, and now here's the thing. Throughout the whole, I would say, part of the book and movie, part of the theme is also wand. So we'll get to that when we get to it.
Harry's been seeing visions of Voldemort trying to find Grigovich because he's looking for something. And we find out, we'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah, and
he goes to Grigovich, kills Grigovich, and then he went to Grindelwald. Because Grindelwald was stuck in his prison that he had made after Dumbledore had defeated him in 1944.
Yes.
So from 1944 until 1998, or 1998, 1997, 98. Because the book starts in 97 and ends in 98. He said that he was waiting to see if Voldemort was going to come to him.
Yes.
And he did. So, Ron does, they find out that Dumbledore wasn't as great as they thought that he was from the book.
But then again, they thought it could have been lies too, because they didn't know what to believe.
Yeah.
Because it's written by Rita Skeeter, because how truthful can it be? And I think after a while...
We find out that they had a sister named Ariana. It was her little sister, and she had some issues, which we will get to that when we get towards the end.
Yeah.
And she ended up dying. And we found out that Dumbledore's father had gone to Azkaban for attacking some Muggle children. Which we will get to that at the end, too.
Yes, and I think now that's when we...
Now it's the Patronus, the Doe Patronus.
Yes, and Harry follows it, both in book and movie. And it led to a frozen lake that had the sword of Godric Gryffindor in there. And Harry pretty much goes after it, and I think both book and movie, the locket keeps pulling him back because he knows the locket knows it'll kill it. And I think Ron comes back and...
Yeah, he's the one that gets the sword and saves Harry. They do open up the locket. The locket does say, hey, I see what's in your heart. We see, Hermione, just loves Harry. Like, she doesn't give a shit about you. And, Harry's saying, don't listen to it, kill or break the locket. And Harry said at one point he thought that that Ron was going to swing the sword at him. But he hit the locket and they actually destroyed the locket.
Yeah, and
so there was a Horcrux down.
And both book movie, Hermione's mad at him, and he see in the book, in the movie, he says he was at a pub and he heard Hermione's voice, but it was in the book he was with Bill and Fleur.
But he did go to Shell Cottage too.
He did.
Yeah, so they hadn't spoken his name since he left. And because he said he wanted to come back immediately, but he got caught by snatchers, splinched himself, he lost a fingernail. And then he said, like, he heard Hermione's voice say Ron, and he, like, was playing with the Deluminator or whatever, and he was able to follow the Deluminator. And, it kept taking him to where they were, but they had taken to disapparating under the invisibility cloak.
Yes, and like I said, once they all got squared away, they go to Luna Lovegood's father's house, and they talk about it. And that in both book and movie, they read tales from Beard the Bard,
which we get the story of the Tale of the Three Brothers, which we're not going to get into that because it is quite long.
Yes, and
if you guys want to know the story, you can look it up.
Look it up. But I do have to say, in the movie, when they were doing the animation for the story, I kind of liked it.
The animation was really good, and then
it kind of reminded me of Tim Burton.
And then they kind of did like something similar when they were doing in the game in Hogwarts Legacy when you were doing the quest for the old headmistress.
Yeah, but I felt like that was more like a book. You were more sketched like a book.
Yeah, but I mean, the animation was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then we come to find out that Mr. Lovegood had sold out Harry, Hermione, and Ron. That Harry was there. They blow up his house.
Yeah, see somewhere out in the movie they just blow it up, but in the book it was a horn from a magical beast. I forget what was it called.
I can't remember, but it's very explosive.
Yeah, and it exploded the house. They left, and they go. I think somewhat time they get captured by the Death Eaters, and they go to the Malfoy Manor.
Yeah,
and they were pretty much. Luna was in there.
Mr. Ollivander and Griphook and Dean.
They were all in there. Hermione got tortured, and
yeah, Hermione was getting tortured. Harry was able to use that sliver of his mirror to get help, and they sent Dobby to help, and Dobby was able to apparate with Dean, Luna, and Mr. Ollivander, and took them over to Shell Cottage, which is where Bill and Fleur live. Griphook had actually gotten taken upstairs to be interrogated about the Sword of Gryffindor, because the Sword of Gryffindor technically was supposed to be in her vault, and the Lestrange's vault. And
they pretty much had a little fight, and Dobby helped disapparate them, and Bellatrix threw a
knife, and it killed Dobby. Dobby died. And
pour out for Dobby.
Yeah.
And like I said, in both book and movie, they do dig a grave, but in the book, they said we can just use magic, but Harry's like, no.
He wanted to do it by hand. Dean and Ron came out and helped him also dig the grave. And when they thought that it was, deep enough, they, dressed him up. They put, I think, like new socks on him, a little sweater, a little hat, and then they put him in the grave, and then they covered him. And then Harry had actually wrestled Draco's wand from him. So at this point, Harry, because Hermione had like inflated his face so he didn't really look like Harry Potter. And Malfoy, Draco could tell that it was Harry Potter, but you could tell that he was hesitant
The answer.
to answer.
Yes, and like I said,
like at this point, I think you can tell that Draco knew that he was in over his head, and that he didn't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, and once they were at the Shell College, both book movie, they were asking Grindelwald and Ollivander about the wand, why it's choosing him, and they say, "Well, you want it." He's like, and he explains about how wands are.
Yeah, which it's kind of weird because, I mean, if you use Expelliarmus on somebody, then you win that allegiance to the wand. But how does it still work for the person? Like, I'm wondering if
maybe it was one of those Mentos that Rowling didn't put in.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that's not really explained very well. Because, I mean, you can switch the allegiance of the wand to yourself. So maybe it's just like maybe the conviction that you have. I don't know. Because he wrestled Draco's wand from him. He didn't use Expelliarmus. He just straight up just like grabbed the wand out of his hand.
Yeah, and like I said, in both book and movie, Ollivander is talking about wands. And I think he mentions how to win the wand and everything else. But now in the book... in the movie, they do talk to Griphook about, about why the sword wasn't in Bellatrix's vault, and they just say it was just a fake, because something, I forget what. But, see, here's the thing. In the book, it mentions when they were going to go sneak into the vault, Bill warns Harry that says, don't trust what Griphook is going to tell you. Don't trust a goblin. And he's like... Now, see, in the movie, he might have said that, but I doubt he did.
No, I don't think he really mentioned it in the movie.
But in the book...
It's been a while since I've seen the movie.
But in the book, they'll say, oh, that's ours. And they say, because they say, we made it. And I'm like...
Yeah, so the thing with goblins is, if something is goblin made, and you pay for it, then, that's that wizard's, but...
To them, it's still theirs.
The goblins believe that once that wizard dies, it goes back to the goblin. Whereas with, like, humans, if we die, then our family members get whatever we have left, like our inheritance. And he's just like, so he says that he wanted the Sword of Gryffindor. Harry agreed to give him the Sword of Gryffindor. But... he's like, he didn't say when he would give it.
Yep.
So they do break into Gringotts. Hermione is dressed up as, or is Polyjuice potioned as Bellatrix Lestrange.
I think Ron as Bellatrix's husband.
No, it was just some random dude that they just altered his appearance by magic. They had Bellatrix's wand. And then, so they break in. They do get caught.
Now here's the thing. Both book and movie, Griphook and Harry are underneath the invisibility cloak.
Yeah. And Harry is using the unforgivable curses on goblins. He is using the Imperious curse. So they do make it down to the vault. They do break into the vault. They find what they're looking for, which was the cup of Helga Hufflepuff.
And both book and movie,
they escape on a dragon.
That, but also the curses,
Griphook also steals the sword from them.
Yeah, but don't they also die? No, it was that one goblin that dies.
I mean, he does. In the movie, they do show Griphook dying when they find out that he was in, when they found out that something was stolen, or that the Horcrux was stolen from, Bellatrix's vault. Because then he's starting to keep Nagini close to him.
Yes.
And because now he knows that Harry knows about the Horcrux.
And
then he starts going around and checking. He sees that the locket is gone. And then he definitely knows that there's something going on. So...
they,
because what he's looking for is he's looking for the Elder Wand. So the Elder Wand is... in the Deathly Hallows, it is this straight line right here. So the triangle is the invisibility cloak. The circle is the resurrection stone. And then the line is the wand.
Yes. And they found out the wand is in Dumbledore's grave.
Yeah. So the thing with the wand is Voldemort is not aware that it's part of the Deathly Hallows. He just thinks that it's a really powerful wand because this wand throughout history has changed hands so many times, and it's normally by death. So it goes by the name Death Stick. There's a couple of others. So Voldemort thinks the only way that he can get this wand is by killing. But Dumbledore won this wand from Grindelwald without killing him.
Now, like I said, now we get to where Harry decides, let's go back to Hogwarts. And they go to...
Because they have to.
Yep, and they go to Hogsmeade. And once they hear the alarms, the mentors are there. Harry uses his Patronus. They saw the Death Eaters, the alarms going off. Even underneath the invisibility cloak. Was it?
As Aberforth Dumbledore.
He tells him to get in and...
fights with the Death Eaters.
Now, see, in the movie, we don't see that. But in the book... He's
arguing with him.
He's like, I'm just putting my cat out. And he's like, we saw Harry's here because his Patronus is a stag. I'm like, and he says, how do you know it's a stag? Because it had horns. And he does his Patronus. And he's like, it's a goat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I like Agathor. He's like that asshole that you... you're just going to be friends with.
Yeah, so now we start to learn that a lot of the stuff that was written in Rita Skeeter's book about Dumbledore was true.
But there
there
was more information that Rita didn't get.
So one of the things that Aberforth mentioned was about their sister Ariana. Ariana, when she was still very young, before she could really, before kids hit the age of 11, before they go to Hogwarts, they can't really control their magic.
No.
So she was out in the back garden playing. Some Muggle kids saw her performing some magic. She can't control it. They break in and they attack her. Now, there are some, there's some speculation that she had been SA'd by these kids. But I can't really say yes or no. But her father did get really upset and that's why he went to Azkaban for the rest of his life because of that.
And, their sister was afraid to do magic and
so she would bottle it up and
that turns out it's really bad.
If you guys saw the first Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them movies, where they talked to Credence, basically what was going on with Credence was basically what was going on with Ariana.
Pretty much, they call him a skur. I forget.
I forget what they called him.
But yes, turns out it was
Obscurus or something like that.
And turns out she's holding back her magic. The reason why Dumbledore's mother locked her away was trying to protect people because her magic is so unstable it could have hurt someone.
And they didn't want her to have to go to St. Mungo's because she would have went to St. Mungo's and she would have been in the ward think of the ward that Lockhart was in.
Yeah.
Or Neville's parents.
Don't forget, this took place, 1800s or so? Maybe late
1800s,
yeah,
early 1900s.
Remember those psych wards in London, Britain? Not very good.
Well, she would have went to St. Mungo's.
But still, we don't know what they were like back then.
Yeah, so, he finds out a lot, they do find out that a lot of what Rita Skeeter had written was true.
And pretty much Agathor keeps saying, Dumbledore did his he pretty much saying Dumbledore was a crappy older brother, and I'm like, and he's dogging on him. He's saying he went off with when he was in school. He was popular. He went with Grindelwald, did some, and he said, and you want me to go to school? And I told him no because he needed to be with his sister. Because since his sister liked Aberthor, and he's like, I'll watch her, and he's like, and Dumbledore did do it for a while till Grindelwald came by.
Yeah, and then Aberforth said that he had seen them. It was like they were neglecting her. So then there was a fight between Aberforth, Albus, and Grindelwald, and in the crossfire, Ariana had gotten hit by a curse.
Now, here's the thing. Aberthor say he hates his brother, but why did he join the Order of the Phoenix that his brother started? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, just because you hate your older brother doesn't mean he probably hated Voldemort more.
Well,
I don't even think he was part of the Order of the Phoenix, to be honest.
No, he was. He was part of the original.
But there was a part where in the 6th book in the movie when Dumbledore's drinking that potion and he's having like some sort of hallucinations or whatever, and he's saying, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Right there, that's probably him thinking that he had killed his sister. Yeah. Because it was after that was when Dumbledore changed and he stopped having these same feelings that he was having when he was with Grindelwald. So like wanting to subjugate Muggleborns and the Muggles and stuff like that. Because Dumbledore did want to do that in his younger days.
But we'll get to that when we get to it, because now
they get into Hogwarts.
Both book and movie, they go through a secret tunnel with Neville. And Neville does explain what happened, saying, you know, what he did, what they did. But in the book, Neville sounds more like a badass now than in the movie.
Yeah. So they get over there. We're just going to like cover this fairly quickly because this video is starting to become
an hour.
It's getting long.
Okay, now let's just say when they get there, they're in the room of requirement, and that's in the book. I think also in the movie. But here's something that wasn't in the book. In the movie, Harry uses his invisibility cloak, and they go to Ravenclaw Tower.
But they did go to Ravenclaw Tower.
Oh, they didn't. Remember, once they were there in the movie, they went straight to the next day. And that's when the battle starts.
The battle started that night.
But
they went up to Ravenclaw Tower. Luna took him. They found the diadem. Professor McGonagall showed up because actually they were looking for the diadem. And they found out that one of the Death Eaters that was there working as a teacher was waiting for them because they thought that he might go up there to Ravenclaw Tower. McGonagall shows up. He spits on her. He isn't happy, uses the Cruciatus curse. His sister comes in.
Harry uses a curse.
Yeah, they basically, yeah.
Yeah, because in the movie, they didn't do the cap thing they did with the...
Yeah, because he goes and he talks to the Grey Lady. I think it was when he talked to her, I think, before or after he went to look at the diadem. And she told him that Voldemort had actually come up to him as well, or come up to her as well. We find out that the Grey Lady is the daughter of Rowena Ravenclaw. She took Ravenclaw's diadem. The Bloody Baron was her fiance. He came after her and he killed her, and that's why he's like all shackled and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then they pretty much both book and movie. She says you can find it where you can, though you don't you need it, but you don't need it.
Yeah. So the room that Harry hid his old potions book in, he had actually seen the diadem the year before when he hid his potions book. And they do get into that part of the room of requirement. They do find the diadem.
And yet we get
where Harry left it.
And what was it? I think was it Crabbe or Goyle?
It was Crabbe, Goyle, and Malfoy. Draco Malfoy show up.
But yet I think Goyle was given a speech, and I was like, throughout the whole book, I don't hear him speak, but I know you're going to say, Oh no, you hear him speak where Ron was it Ron and Harry drunk, but
We don't hear them speak very much.
yeah, see,
if at all.
yeah, because see now with to me in the second book, they were fake Crab and Goyle, so that doesn't count.
Yeah.
But.
So, in the movie, they had actually replaced Crab with Blaze Zabini because the guy that played Crab got into some trouble. So they replaced him with Blaze Zabini. So then instead of Crab dying in the Room of Requirement during the Fiend Fire, it was Goyle that had passed away.
Yeah.
But in the book, Crab had died. Harry, Ron, and Hermione did save Malfoy and Goyle.
Yep, and pretty much all fights are going on.
They do defeat that last Horcrux.
They did, and see in the book they just talk about how they did it with.
Yeah. Oh, while Harry was looking for the diadem, Ron and Hermione actually went down to the Chamber of Secrets, got some basilisk fangs, and Hermione had destroyed the cup.
Yeah. See now. See, in the book, they just describe it, but in the movie, they actually show it.
So then, in the book, the movie, when Ron and Hermione are in the Room of Requirement, or in the Chamber of Secrets, that's where they kiss.
Yeah.
In the book, it's not. Ron is saying that they needed to evacuate the house elves because he says we cannot ask the house elves to fight for us because we don't want any more Dobbies, but Hermione is so overjoyed that she just starts kissing him full on the mouth.
And
Harry's like, hey, oi, we're in the middle of a war here.
Right. And, pretty much everything else happens. You see, now, like I said, everything happens, and then we get the death of Snape, and we see both book and movie, Snape's pass, and, well, both book and movies, Voldemort kills Snape because he wanted the wand because he wanted on from he said.
So this is the thing with the wand. Voldemort killed Snape because he thought that he was the master of the wand, but he wasn't. He thought that he was the master of the wand because he was the one that had killed Dumbledore. Draco Malfoy was actually the one that was the owner of the wand. But at this point, since Harry had stolen Draco's wand from him, now it was Harry's wand. So now Harry is the owner of the Elder Wand.
Yes. Now, like I said, it's pretty much, it gets down to nit and grit with the wands. Now, like I said, we do see this vision with the pensive with Snape's past, but here's the thing that's different from the book. Petunia wrote a letter to Dumbledore, see if she can go, even though she can't. And Dumbledore wrote to her really politely, by the way. And people, because I see people making AIs, making him look like a dick. And I'm like, no, he was actually nice about it, saying, I understand, but I'm really sorry, but you can't come here.
Yeah.
I wish I could, but we can't.
Yeah, so we just see his friendship with Lily, with Harry's mother throughout the books, or throughout their years. And it was the 5th year when their friendship ended, and it was because he had called her a mudblood.
Yes.
And he's like, I didn't mean to call you a mudblood. And she's like, but you call everybody that's like me, of my birth, you call everybody that's like me a mudblood. She goes, why am I any different? So then we see that he's the one that stole the second part of the letter to Sirius, because it had her love on it, because she wrote lots of love, Lily. He took that part of the letter, and then he ripped that photo of them together, and he took Lily's half where she was smiling.
Yeah, and now here's something that's different. In the book, I think it got down to it he was with Dumbledore. He's saying, "You think she's going to come back to you if Voldemort spared her?"
No, it wasn't that. So Snape wanted Voldemort to spare Lily because he desired her, from what Voldemort said. It's a theory of mine that I think that he thought in some fucked up thing that if Lily lost her son or her husband, that she would come back to Snape.
No.
And I really think that she would have just fought that much harder if she had lost her son and her husband.
Yeah, and pretty much Dumbledore is saying, well, you're really... He pretty much calls him, I wouldn't say an asshole, but it was in a polite way, he was like, you're an asshole.
Yeah. And so then he's like, please just do anything to keep them safe. And he goes, well, what will you give me? Dumbledore said that to Snape, and Snape said anything. And then that's when Snape started becoming a double agent. And so we find out that he's the one that fed Mundungus Fletcher the information to do the 7 Harrys. He was the one that left the Sword of Gryffindor for Harry to find.
Which we don't see in the movie, by the way.
Yeah, and it's just stuff like that. And I think that was the last memory was when he left the room to go hide the Sword of Gryffindor.
Now, in both book and movie, Snape and Dumbledore mentions Harry's just going to be a sacrifice. And he's like, you're starting to care for him?
Yeah, we find out that Harry has a Horcrux inside of him, a part of Voldemort's soul. Because the night that Voldemort went to go kill him, he was going to make a Horcrux. But since, the curse rebounded off of Lily and onto him, or off Harry and onto him, a piece of Voldemort's soul got stuck on Harry. So when Trelawney looked at him and said, oh, well, you were born in midwinter,
yeah,
she could see Voldemort's soul. So technically she was kind of right, because it was Voldemort's soul that she was seeing and not Harry's own soul.
Yeah.
That's why he could talk to snakes. That's why he was almost put into Slytherin, because of that part of Voldemort's soul.
Yeah, but wasn't there like some theory that the Potters was also kind of like a descendant to Slytherin too?
He is.
Okay. Yeah.
They are, in case you guys didn't know, Harry is a distant relative of Salazar Slytherin, because if I do remember correctly, the Priverol brothers, or whatever their names are, which they're the ones that made the Hollows, they are descendants of Salazar Slytherin. And Harry is descendants of them. So he is a distant relative of Salazar Slytherin.
Okay, either way, yes. Okay, now we get down to, we all see in the book, both book and movie, Harry giving himself up.
Yeah. So.
And he does talk to...
I have a problem with this part.
Okay.
So he does use the Resurrection Stone. Sirius, his parents, Lupin, they all appear in front of him when he uses the Resurrection Stone. Because the Resurrection Stone was actually hidden in that snitch that he got at the beginning of the book.
And it says open to close, and it turns... Wait.
Let's explain it. So, snitches have flesh memories. So, the first snitch, this was the first snitch he got in his Quidditch game. He had caught it in his mouth. So, when he put his lips up to it or whatever, it said, I open at the close. So, that means he said, I am about to die. Then it opened. There's a Resurrection Stone. He uses it. He sees Lupin, Sirius, and his parents. And then he's talking to them. And then he looks at his mom. And he says, will you stay with me? And they say, and then I don't remember if it was his mom or his dad, but they said until the end. In the fucking movie, okay, they say always. I'm sick of hearing always all the fucking time, because you know what? Just because Snape loved Lily so much doesn't mean that he's a good guy. He was obsessed with her, okay?
I'm going to have to agree with this. He was a good, well-off character, but I'm sorry, he was abusive. He was an asshole, and he favors students. I'm sorry.
Slytherin?
Yep. And I'm sorry, I can't condone him being... He's a good, well-off character. He was greatly written. It's just, I'm not going to forgive him what he did.
Yeah. So, they say until the very end in the book.
Yes.
And one of my friends, and I don't know if we're still going to do it now, but her and I were talking about getting... She was a Slytherin, I'm a Gryffindor. And we talked about getting these two ties intertwined. And it said, stay with me until the very end. So they do go and he faces off against Voldemort. Voldemort kills him. They're inside of Harry's mind.
He's talking to Dumbledore. Now, see, in the movie, they just explained it. There was a little piece in him, and in both book and now here's something that in the book he talks to Dumbledore about his Dumbledore's life and why, and we found out why he was never part of the ministry. He never become minister of magic because they keep saying they want him to be the minister. In the book, he says that was my weakness was power, and I'm like, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, at this point, Harry could choose to move on if he wanted to, but Harry did not. He woke up. They sent Narcissa to check to see if he was dead.
Now, here's the one thing. In the book, they were torturing, like moving his body back and forth, but in the movie, they just kick him.
Yeah. And Narcissa does find out that he's alive, and she, like, leaned really close to him, and she goes, is Draco still alive, or is Draco in the castle? And he says yes. And then Narcissa does lie and say he is dead. They have taken Hagrid hostage at this point.
Yep.
And they made Hagrid pick up his body and carry him, thinking that he was dead.
Yeah, and then this is when we get to the last part of the battle. Now, Neville gives a speech. Now, in the book, Voldemort, like, the hat's on him, and Voldemort
sets it on fire.
Doesn't do that in the movie.
Yeah.
And Harry wakes up. He's in his visibility cloak in the book. He's doing stuff.
Hagrid's freaking out because he's like, where's Harry? Where's Harry?
Gorp shows up. In the book, Gorp shows up, not in the movie. Grop. Missed opportunity, by the way.
It's Hagrid's brother.
Half-brother.
Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't matter.
Either way, yes.
Hagrid's brother.
He comes and helps Hagrid in the fight, and in the movie, they don't have him there, which is a missed opportunity. Then in both book and movie, Molly
defeat Bellatrix. Now, here is my issue with this. So, Harry and Voldemort are facing off. Harry, all they're doing is it's kind of anticlimactic because they're just circling each other. And they're having like little speeches, and Harry's explaining, you're not the owner of the wand, I'm the owner of the wand, because Malfoy was the one that was the owner of the wand. And he's like, well, I can deal with Malfoy after I'm done with you. And he goes, oh, no, you're not listening. No. I'm the owner of the wand now, bitch. So,
it was pretty much, he was just giving a speech. And, then something happened.
Voldemort tried to shoot Avada Kedavra. Harry shot out Expelliarmus. They collided. The Avada Kedavra rebounded and hit Voldemort. Now, in the movie, he disintegrated. In the book, he fell as a normal man.
Yeah.
Because Neville did kill Nagini.
Now in the book, the sword fell onto his head. In the book, he just picks it up.
Yeah, and he kills Nagini. So Voldemort just dies as a normal man. And I hate what they did in the books with it, or in the movies, because the whole point of them destroying these Horcruxes was to make Voldemort a mortal man. And they did, and that was to show that. So some of the deaths that had happened in the book was Fred Weasley, Tonks and Lupin, which we do find out that he had gone back and they had a son. They named him Teddy Remus Lupin, I do believe.
And he keeps changing his hair color.
Yeah, because he's a metamorphosis or whatever, like his mother.
And pretty much
Colin Creevey passed away. In the movie, they showed Lavender Brown dead, but in the book, it says that she was feebly stirring. And on Pottermore, or the wizardingworld.com, or whatever it's called now, they used to have profiles. I don't know if the profiles are still up, but it used to have profiles. And it would say like when they died or whatever. And Lavender's was on there, but it didn't say that she had passed away.
Yeah.
So we've never gotten confirmation from J.K. Rowling that Lavender Brown had passed away.
Yeah.
But I would like to know if she is still alive or not.
Yeah. Now, see, here's the thing. Like I said, after the battle, everyone's tired, celebrating, mourning over the loss. They're saying they're throwing fruit in Gorp's mouth. And Luna goes to Harry and saying, if you want, just, telling him use your visibility to cloak to get away. And she pretty much does this distraction and everyone just looks.
Yeah, so then he leaves with Harry, Ron, and Hermione, and they go up to Dumbledore's office. This is where the book differs from the movie yet again.
And I have to say, I like the book idea more than the movie.
So what they did was they had gone up to Dumbledore's office in the book, and Harry was able to repair his Phoenix wand with the Elder Wand. And then he looked at Dumbledore's portrait and said, I'm going to put this back in the grave with you. So when I die, the power of this wand will die as well. And then no one will be able to use the death stick anymore. In the book, or in the movie, they had him break it and then toss it.
Yeah, and that was dumb. And here's why I like it. It was after Harry fixes his wand, he goes to the bed, thinking about Creature making him a sandwich.
And bringing him up a sandwich, yeah.
And sleeps. And
then we cut to 19 years later, the epilogue. And, oh my gosh. We find out that Ginny and Harry got married and had 3 kids. Lily, James and Albus. Severus.
And he...
dumbass name, by the way.
Okay. Like I was saying...
Ron and Hermione get married and have 2 kids, Rose and Hugo.
Yeah, and...
Malfoy got married and had a son named Scorpius.
And
everybody was pretty much married with children.
Now here's pretty much the movie. They just shortened the epilogue, but in the book it's longer. They're catching up. They mention how Teddy is with Victoire, whatever
her name is, and they're kissing. And James had seen them kissing, and he comes up and he's like, hey, I see Teddy over there snogging our cousin. And they're all like, okay. And he's like, he's over there kissing her. And they're like, okay.
And they're just like...
And he goes, I asked what they were doing, and Teddy said that they were
busy.
seeing them off, or seeing her off. And then Ginny's like, you interrupted them? You are so like Ron. Because apparently Ron has done that, if you remember in the 6th book.
Yes, and like I said, and hopefully maybe they get married. They were, and
there was hopes that they were going to get married.
Since pretty much they are a family, and Ron's also mentioning that how he passed a Muggle's driving test.
But he confronted the instructor.
Right.
So he was able to pass that way.
And besides that, they...
Yeah, Albus... So... James is in Gryffindor. Albus, I don't like what they did here because Albus is like, I don't want to go into Slytherin. And Harry's like, well, if you go into Slytherin, then Slytherin will gain a great house. Because he's like, what I would have loved to, because in The Cursed Child, when The Cursed Child came out, which, it's basically fan fiction, because they gave Voldemort a daughter in that play, which is dumb as hell.
Either way,
but they in The Cursed Child they did put Albus into Slytherin with Scorpius. I would have loved to have seen Albus in Gryffindor with Scorpius in Gryffindor.
That would have been a good twist.
I would have loved to have seen that, to be honest. And then so there's like a lot of speculation also that Scorpius and Albus are gay for each other.
I don't. Let's not get too much into
that. That has never been confirmed, but apparently that is a very big ship in the Harry Potter community.
Oh, we also get to know that Neville is the
herbology teacher. Yes,
and
he is married to Hannah Abbott, and she runs the 3 Broomsticks now.
Didn't he also become Did he become the head of Gryffindor or the House of?
Possibly?
It didn't explain.
They didn't say. They just said that he was the herbology teacher.
Either way, besides that, you get the point. And At the end of the book, it says Harry's scar has not been hurting for 19 years.
All was well.
All was well. And that was a good ending for the book and also the movie. And I have to say, it comes to a full circle.
So, here's a theory. Now, we know that when they wore the locket, they were all like pissy.
Yes.
You know? So, they were saying, some people are saying, and J.K. Rowling has debunked this, but they were saying that the reason why the Dursleys were so horrible to Harry was because of the Horcrux inside of him. But the thing is, they were horrible people before Harry came to live with them. And if they were affected by the Horcrux, then definitely his roommates would have been affected by the Horcrux at Hogwarts. People around him would have been affected by the Horcrux, but they weren't. So that theory doesn't hold water.
Yeah.
There's also a theory coming around that George came back as it was nearly headless Nick's head finally fell off after Battle of Hogwarts, and George came back as a ghost, or Fred came back as a ghost. And he was he was the new ghost of Gryffindor. And it's like, okay, first off, a ghost can't lose its head.
And
that's dumb as hell. And I don't think Fred would come back as a ghost.
No, he would just move on.
He would move on.
To him, he'd be like...
He wasn't afraid of death.
And pretty much, I think, why would he want to stick at a school that he really wanted to get out of, pretty much?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I don't even think it was that he wanted to get out of it. It was just...
He wanted to start his joke shop.
Yeah, and I don't see him coming back as a ghost. No. I would never see him coming back as a ghost. And it's dumb as hell to say, "Oh, nearly headless Nick will lose his head finally." And it's like, no, he hadn't lost his head in like 600 and something years. Yeah, there's no way he's gonna lose it now.
And wasn't there a speculation that Dumbledore and Grindelwald were a couple?
Actually, okay, so J.K. Rowling did come out and she did say that Dumbledore was gay, and him and Dumbledore and Grindelwald had something going on.
I always thought he was asexual.
I mean, you would think that. My theory, okay, well, what I thought after I read the 6th book was I thought Dumbledore might have been gay. And then a few years later, J.K. Rowling came out and said, yeah, Dumbledore is gay. And I can definitely see it. I mean, high-heeled boots.
He wore high-heeled boots?
He wore high-heeled boots.
Well, he was wearing robes. You can't tell.
It says in the books, in the first book, that he was wearing high-heeled boots.
Okay. Well, come on. Straight guys can wear high-heeled boots, too. What about...
I don't see you wearing high-heeled boots.
I'm fine in my height. Whatever.
Hey, y'all want to see Mike wearing high-heeled boots?
Do not. Put in the comments now.
If you guys want to, we'll get him some high-heeled boots and get him in those.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and what next? Make me wear a Dumbledore costume?
Yeah.
No.
We can make you cosplay as Dumbledore.
Okay, can we wrap this up now? Because it's getting...
Yeah. So, like I said, today is May 2nd, which is when the Battle of Hogwarts... That's when the Battle of Hogwarts happened in the books. Yep. So, guys, tonight at 7 p.m., make sure you do 7 minutes of silence for all the souls that were lost during this fictional battle.
Yep.
So, it's Battle of Hogwarts, y'all. That's why this video is coming out on May 2nd, because today is the Battle of Hogwarts.
All right. What's next week's hint?
So, next week's hint is going to be Japan.
And this is going to be different, y'all, so...
Yeah. So, anyways, sorry for the long video, but we are finally now done with our Harry Potter comparison.
Full circle.
If you guys want us to do any more comparisons like this to other books, put it down in the comments below, and we will see about getting to it.
Yep, and like and subscribe.
And we will talk to you guys later. Bye.